Alright kids, you know who, coming right back at you with another glorious Spring 2014 review. This is a review for Metallica, Through the Never, and slash 3D Blu-ray review. Now, I got into Metallica I never liked metal and anything like that when I was a kid, and even when I got into punk rock I was anti-metal, but couple winters ago I was just like severely depressed, as I tend to get during the winter, and I was like, and as I get older I of course feel more and more alienated, as culture is always exists to cater, the media and everything like that, cater to the teenagers and the college people and all the young kids and shit. So as you get older you get more and more alienated. Not that I really give a fuck, because I actually like it, actually not being catered to, and actually just moving on past, you know, the target demographic for all this bullshit. But what I'm getting at is as I get older I'm realizing that it's kind of like I had this feeling of wanting to revisit my youth in a way that, you know, revisit, but I haven't visited it yet. So basically visiting something from something that had I been a different person or whatever, you know, visiting something that every other person of my age, which was a part of their youth, you know, not every other person, but a lot of people of my age, which was of course Metallica, and a lot of people that I knew, of course, a lot of kids at that age were of course into it, which is normal and everything like that. And I was more into just movie soundtracks, you know, John Williams or Jerry Goldsmith, and a lot of Mozart, classical music and big band stuff. So that's what I was listening to when I was a teenager. It wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I discovered punk rock, because I realized, I said this I think in the Amadeus review, that it was such a social handicap to only like music that no one my age listened to. So, but I mean, I actually like punk rock and would have liked it from day one had I been exposed to it at an early age. But I do think that growing up with classical music and big band jazz stuff was probably beneficial to my mental development, more so than, you know, listening to that kind of crap would have been growing up anyway. So to make a long story short, I got into Metallica, you know, only 2 or 3 years ago, and you know, like the shit for the most part. You know, actually, I get it. You know, I get it. I get what all the hoopla is about now. And it was kind of cool, you know, going back. It's like going back in a time machine, really, being a certain age now, and going back and revisiting something that I didn't visit the first time through. So I was like, it was a way of just saying, like, fuck you, like current day Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber shit, and I'm gonna go back and visit, you know, a part of my youth that I didn't indulge on. And that's what I did when I went back and, you know, slowly over a period of months, you know, slowly bought every Metallica CD and stuff like that. So it was very fun. And then I got some Megadeth and stuff like that. So it was cool to revisit my past in a way which, like I say, I said it over and over. So moving on. So since then it seems like they just recently put out this Blu-ray, which is probably obviously on DVD as well, called Quebec Magnetic, which I think they may have recorded not long after Death Magnetic came out, but it seemed like it didn't come out until 2012 or something like that. But the disc is copyrighted 2009, like the Blu-ray, so I'm kind of confused. I don't think it came out until 2012. So the only problem with, you know, Through the Never is you know, it's like a year after I bought Quebec Magnetic, and it was very obviously similar. They're probably in the exact same freaking arena too, you know. So it would have, you know, Through the Never would have been much more impactful had I not seen just the previous year or so Quebec Magnetic, which was exactly the same. I mean, not exactly. They had more, you know, advanced and cool stage shit in Through the Never. But I heard about Through the Never, you know, that it was coming out and whatever, and I didn't quite understand, you know, when blue-ray.com, when they talk about it, and it's like a concert with interlaced with concert footage interlaced with a narrative and all this kind of stuff, and I didn't quite understand what the hell it was when they were just discussing it in when they're talking about it. So, you know, when I didn't care to, I don't know if it was even playing anywhere around me, but I didn't care to go see it in the theater or anything like that. And when the Blu-ray came out in 3D, I'm like, well, I got a 3D TV. What the hell? I like Metallica. Let's see what this is like. And it's put out by, you know, their own label, which I can't believe it took them this long to form their own label, because, you know, I don't know. But so Metallica's Blackened, you know, recordings, which I was worried about whether this 3D Blu-ray from Blackened would even work, but fortunately it worked, and I was disappointed in the fact that it's the really wide screen, which I think is stupid for like this kind of a thing, you know, because, you know, I don't know, you know, usually when something's 3D, I just prefer like James Cameron did with the Avatar Blu-ray, to open up the, he didn't only do it with 3D, but he just did it with all Video Incarnation's Avatar, where he opened up the frame to the, you know, 185 or whatever, and I appreciate that. And he did that with the Titanic 3D Blu-ray. So it'd be nice if they did that for every movie in 3D, to be honest, because when a movie's 3D, I don't know, I just want to see the whole TV being used for some reason. I don't mind really wide stuff when it's not 3D so much. But, so overall, I was kind of impressed with how the movie started, and this kid who apparently is going to be, what's his name, in Spider-Man 2, but he looks a lot better in this movie. He looks so stupid in the Spider-Man 2. I can't remember his character, but whatever, I'm not a comic fan. So it started off kind of cool, where the guy's like skateboarding towards a whatever, and this kid's a roadie or whatever they call him for Metallica, and it was one of the coolest things in the movie was how they introduced like the band members. You know, I think the first one we see is like, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Whatever, he's the singer. You know, singer of that little band called, you may have heard of, called Metallica. Whatever his name is, he drives up in his hot rod. He's like, you know, and shoots the fire out of the back. Oh yeah, he's badass, man. Why can't I think of his name? It kind of pisses me off. But, and then I think we introduced the other guy, that one guy, the guitar guy, which was kind of cool. The best introduction was, of course, of the, can't remember any of their names except Lars, but the bass guy was probably the coolest introduction. I was like, I laughed. I'm like, ha 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 ha. You know, he's crouching down in the room, just vibrating the room and stuff. That was kind of cool and dumb. And Lars' introduction was kind of minimalistic, I guess. But overall, I'm not going to give this stars because it's really not a movie. So I don't feel like I can give it stars. Overall, I have to say that the combining of the narrative, I don't like all of the non-concert footage personally, and the chaos and the anarchy bullshit and all that. I don't like it. I just assumed, I can see why they did it, and I guess they did it competently. They put that footage intercut in there competently, but I don't like it. We'll just say that. I'm not going to say it's stupid because it isn't stupid. I don't like it. I could have just, I can understand why they did it, because if they put out just another concert, there's something running around out there, it's kind of creepy. If they put out just another concert video, I'd just be like, yeah. So they probably felt compelled to like change it up a little bit. So whatever. I don't really mind that much. But the 3D Blu-ray quality is pretty good. I mean, it's as close as I'll probably ever get to seeing them live. I was going to mention that I don't really like, live. I don't like concerts. I don't like big crowds. I don't like loud music. Loud, deafening. I don't really like concerts. So this is the close. That's why I love these concert videos, because you can experience it without having to go there and wait in line and listen to all these opening bands and all the bullshit that comes with going to a concert. You can do it in the safety of your own house and you can control the volume, and no one's gonna frickin' stampede you. So I'm not a concert goer by any stretch of the imagination. I did a little bit, but it was never my thing. So this is exactly perfect for me to actually, this is the closest I'm gonna, Through the Never 3D Blu-ray is the closest I'm gonna ever get to seeing them live. But it works absolutely fine for me. Another thing I want to comment on is just the whole, I'm not a big worship kind of a person. One of the things that I find kind of disheartening about the whole fan worship thing, I think is way overblown, something that I'm surely not one of, where the kind of just like the, worshiping these people like they're just, gods or something like that, worshiping the band members, I think is kind of a sick, personally, I just think it's kind of sick, stupid thing. It's like, you know what, they eat shit and sleep, they just happen to have made some popular music. I don't know. I can't get behind the whole fan. I'm not a worshiper of movie stars. I'm not a worshiper of movie makers. I'm not a worshiper of music people. I'm just not a worshiper of anything. I don't idolize and just like, I want to meet. I don't care, because everyone's just a person, and I don't have that like crazy fan mentality of like, oh man, he touched me or he looked at me. It's like, I don't care. So that was one thing that was kind of unsettling for me to watch this movie, and just like, and the whole herd mentality of like, how many of these can you count in the audience? It's just like, yeah, man, it's just, I'm not really that kind of a mentality. So those were some of the things that I took away, just being like, yeah, whatever. And I think it's really dangerous to throw like drumsticks into the crowd, because it's like, go right into your eyeball. If you're gonna throw drumsticks in the crowd, have like a tennis ball on each end or something, some safe, But see, that's just my mentality. It's safety first, It's not worth losing an eye to get a drumstick thrown at you, but. That's just why I don't go to concerts. But we're going to end this now, and I'm not going to give it stars because it's not really a movie. I'll give, I would recommend, if you have a 3D TV and if you like Metallica, the 3D version of this, which is really shitty because it doesn't come with normally in the good old, in a perfect world, normally if a 3D Blu-ray will come with a 2D version. And this doesn't. But as I did and as I can do, and probably most anyone who has 3D TV should be able to do on your TV, is you can just turn off 3D, which would be a way to more or less probably watch it in 2D. But I still haven't tried like playing it. Maybe I'll do this summer on a 3D Blu-ray player. I don't know if it'll play on a 2D TV if you play it from a 3D Blu-ray player. I don't know. I'd have to try that. But so that's one of the disadvantages about the 3D Blu-ray of Through the Never, is that that's all you get is the 3D Blu-ray. Is it on? Do you get a DVD? I can't remember. I don't think so. I think you get a digital copy. I don't know. Whatever. But that's one of the only complaints about it. But the 3D is pretty good. And a lot of times when those laser lights are actually, and stuff like that. And overall, the whole concert experience was pretty cool. And, all of them building the Justice Woman and the crosses that come up and all that fire and all that kinds of shit. I actually, and since I got the Blu-ray, I actually bought the soundtrack, of Through the Never, which is pretty cool. And one thing that I have to comment on, being like a musician, that I would just, not being a musician myself, I just can't see how it's not completely boring to play the same songs a million times over and over, personally. And that's another little commentary on live music. To me, it's just like, it'd be like, to me, it's just like, I can't really see how you can even do that and not get completely bored. But I suppose if you're being paid millions, but see, I don't know. So I don't know how those people do it who play songs, thousands and thousands of times over and over. To me, it would get kind of monotonous, but that's just my point of view. So, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a musician or play live music. That's just my personal take. When I see a concert, I'm like, how many times have they played this song? That's what comes to my mind. Like, is this the 7,534th time they played this song? And one good thing about playing songs over and over is after a while, you probably wouldn't screw up anymore. I imagine you just kind of like doing a combination on a lock. You kind of don't even know the numbers anymore. You just do it. Like in high school, I couldn't tell you, like even when I was going to school, I couldn't tell you what the combination was. They just went to it and did it. Alright, I should end now. So thank you very much for watching my Through the Never review / 3D Blu-ray review. I'm not really one of those kind of people, but whatever. Metallica's pretty cool, and I like Death Magnetic, and I'm actually interested to see if they're ever going to come out with something new, and hopefully if they do, it'll be something more like along the lines of Death Magnetic and not Load or Reload. So thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.